Akaretler row houses, located in Beşiktaş, Istanbul, are one of the first examples of collective housing and civil architecture in the Ottoman Empire. It was designed in 1874 as 138 residential units by Sarkis Balyan, who was the architect of many important projects such as Dolmabahçe Palace and Beylerbeyi Palace. When first designed, Akaretler row houses have two uses as lodging and renting. The guests and high-ranking workers in the Dolmabahçe Palace used to stay in the accommodation section. The money brought by the rental was used in the construction of the Aziziye Mosque. This is in accordance with the meaning of Akaretler, which is income-generating property in Turkish. But the construction of the mosque has not been completed. These row houses, which are the first collective housing project of the Ottoman Empire and the most permanent and monumental examples of adjacent houses in Istanbul, have complex facades like Sarkis Balyan's other buildings. He attached importance to functionality and tried to create different functions for the ground floors. Since Sarkis Balyan was educated in Paris, he was influenced by the École des Beaux-Arts and gave importance to the transition from the facades to the plan. The concept of row houses he designed comes from Europe, especially England, France, and Germany in the 16th century, and was used by every class. Another significance of Akaretler row houses is that they are the first examples of the transition from traditional stone and wood to 4 to 6-story monumental stone and brick houses or to detached houses with gardens. The buildings were made of stone due to the threat of fire. Wood was used only in some interiors such as stairs. Roofing materials are tiles and bricks. After the building was used by the Dolmabahçe Palace officials, it was turned into a tribal school for a while. It was rented to its own workers by the General Directorate of Foundations between 1970 to 1980. In 1990, the building, which started to be demolished from some parts, agreed with Net Holding for the restoration. The project has been developed to consist of Atatürk Museum, office, apart hotel, stores and parking lot complex. A-block design was completed by architect Münir Alparslan in 1998, and the exteriors were strengthened by remaining faithful to the originals. The interior spaces, on the other hand, have been rearranged in accordance with their function without disrupting the carrier system. However, due to some financial problems, the restoration of the Akaretler complex was suspended and the property was purchased by Serdar Bilgili in 2005. Between 2006 and 2008, Akaretler row houses architectural lighting design project was developed by Bilgili Holding and the architectural design by Diomim. These residences, with their forms that directly reflect the first moves towards westernization affecting the Ottoman Empire, are one of the best examples of civil architecture of the 1870s with their neoclassical facade design. The aim of the project, designed by Bilgili Holding, is a new bohemian life that includes most luxurious restaurants and bars in the city. It was to create vibrant district with a style, highlighting luxury residences, luxury designer shops, and offices. For this purpose, there are 56 residences of different sizes, 34 stores on a total of 11,000 square meters, 6 cafes, restaurants, and the famous hotel chain, W Hotel in Akaretler row houses.
The 19th century was an important period for the modernization of the Ottoman Empire. Along with the Ottoman attitude to modernization equivalent to westernization, modernization movements showed their influence in Istanbul. This effect was reflected in the physical environment as differences in functional space binding, size growth, style differentiation, and plan and decoration in the urban spaces. In this century, Beşiktaş districts holds an important place in context of modern urbanism practices. Akaretler attached houses adds color to texture of Istanbul as the best example of civic architecture of the 1870s with its neoclassical facade design, far from the influence of Baroque and Rococo styles. These forms, which influenced the Ottoman Empire in terms of architecture and settlement style, in addition to science, art, agriculture and trade, were one-on-one reflections of westernization movements. Akaretler attached houses is one of the first examples of this change, were made of stone or brick instead of the traditional stone and wooden structure. changed in forms of row or block residences with 4 to 6 floors and detached houses with gardens. Akaretler is the first multi-unit series of houses designed as a whole. The type of row house plan, which is widely accepted in modern architectural understanding, has a wide application in many countries of the world for centuries. Examples of row houses can be seen in all developed countries along with the underdeveloped societies. They are preferred with characteristics such as ease of construction and low cost factors, and this sense of trust that they offer to those who lived in them. It is seen that the row houses that were effective in the formation of the inner courtyard street form over time have left their place to house formations and then increasingly to apartment buildings. The historical and cultural structure of Akaretler attached houses has been researched and restored, staying true its original. After restoration work, in which the architectural and visual elegance of the region has brought to fore, this historical district has brought to modern urban life.
Lighting design was developed by combining past values with current criteria and a design infrastructure understanding that could be long-lasting. The theme is a modern touch to the past. On the facades, which designed with warm color light sources that indicate Ottoman history and richness, balconies symbolize precious crown, continuous light bands on the roof, symbolize integrity and continuity on the street. The components based on the local culture, which also used in the general decoration of the hotel. It gives small clues about the interior. Apart from the visual content of the design, suitable fixtures have been selected and positioned correctly so that no light can enter the interior. Thus, visual comfort prioritized for the user. Although the illuminated facades, which are a guiding element on their own, and define the road and pavement, it was necessary to meet the need for a functional technical lighting system for this main street. It developed with road lighting calculations and criteria and was wanted to prevent light from entering the interiors due to the slope. Akaretler row houses is on the road where Şahin Nedim Street and Sport Street meet as a delta. The plan characteristics and sizes of the many of the row houses are similar to each other. The plan has a rectangular shaped parcels. More than a closed shopping center, Akaretler had a structure which was mixed with the street texture. The space, which mixes into daily life without passing through the metal doors, makes you a part of it even while you are passing by and makes you feel the modernized historical texture is one of the added values of Istanbul. It has two types of main variations. The one which is planned for single family has entrance, toilet and a room in the ground floor. As back facade benefits from the inclination more than front, it has a basement area which is nearly 120 meters square. Second type has 5 examples and located in the middle of the plan. It has 2 apartments in every floor and it has 3 floors. In Akaretler row houses, the facades directly affects the design and the plan of the building, which is principle that École des Beaux-Arts found. Facades are decorated with symmetric, plain, neoclassical motifs. Istanbul's historical background, geography, and the mixture of conventional and the Western qualities is reflected through the decoration.
And now we will focus on the structural properties and the materials of Akaretler attached houses. Let's focus on Block B, as circled in the master plan. The Block B consists of 8 houses attached to each other, and each of these houses are 3 stories high, mainly consisting of an entrance story and 2 upper stories. The levels of these are different from each other because of the existing slope in the terrain, as seen in the section. The original structural system of Block B consisted of masonry walls and vaulted brick floor, and the main construction material of the foundation is stone, and for the walls of the basement and for the upper structure, brick was used. The doors and the balustrades of the balconies were made of cast iron. The cut stones on the facade are being used for a decorative finishing material rather than the structural system itself. According to the seismic zoning map of Turkey, these houses are located on the second-degree seismic zone, representing a quite high seismic risk. Therefore, with respect to the existing structures, there has been several restorations. During the past restoration works, there has been several additions, including new brick masonry walls, which is labeled in blue color in the plan, and the reinforced concrete columns, which is labeled in brown color in the plan. The wall thicknesses vary between 50 to 120 cm for the exterior walls and 20 to 80 cm for the interior walls. These walls are composed of bricks, mortar and steel ties, as you can see from the images. The Akaretler row houses have unfortunately experienced a severe earthquake in 1894 that affected a large span in Istanbul. According to the observations on site, the Block B didn't experience a considerable seismic damage. However, there occurred several minor cracks in the structural walls. According to the specialists, these cracks were formed due to singular loads concentrated on the walls, because of inadequate lintel lengths and local minor alterations in the structural plans. Because of the observed seismic damage in the building, the original vaulted slabs were replaced with reinforced concrete slabs. To summarize, Akaretler, which is the first mass housing project in Turkish history, has a unique architectural style and typology. Houses in Beşiktaş mainly consist of wooden elements. On the contrary, the Akaretler site was built with brick, mainly because of its fire safety properties. The typical and order arrangement, as I mentioned before, creates repetition, and the houses became an urban module. Additionally, the repeated neoclassical facade configuration creates a strict sense of street and place.